Hey, friends. Welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I'm your host, Heather, and I have been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009, which is crazy. So I kind of was a little bit off last week and just posting clips from TudorCon. And I'm going to continue to share clips from TudorCon from some of the speakers because we had amazing speakers and I kind of needed some time to refresh. Also, I am a complete glutton for punishment, and I started a new client on the Monday after TudorCon. So I was doing onboarding and stuff like that. So it was kind of a crazy week to be posting videos as well. So thank you for being patient with me and watching the TudorCon clips. I hope you enjoyed the TudorCon clips. And like I said, that's not all. I'll continue posting some from time to time just so you can get a taste. And TudorCon was awesome. Thank you to everybody who came. Thank you to everybody who came online. I hope you loved it. I gotta say, this whole TudorCon thing started because I was in a swimming pool when we were living in Spain in the evening. It was night. And I remember swimming around looking at the stars and I was thinking, I really wish there was a TudorCon. Is there a TudorCon? And I looked into it and there wasn't. And I thought, well, somebody should do that. And then, I was like, well, who's going to do it? Well, I guess, okay, fine, I'll do it. And now it is morphing. We now are making it a little more official. It's getting bigger than just me for next year. We have a planning committee. We have like a board who's overseeing stuff. It's turning into like having a life of its own. And that is pretty flippin' amazing to me. So it's just kind of one of those things where when you get ideas, you should act on them because you never know where they might go. So Heather's life advice for the day is when you get an idea and you're inspired by it, figure out how to do it because you don't know what it could lead to. It's not just for you, too. One of the people who came to TudorCon, the amazing Kendra, she is actually starting grad school for public history in part because of what she got out of TudorCon and how inspired she got out of TudorCon. So you should do your ideas that you have because you don't know how they're going to touch other people. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. So today we are going to talk about beyond the Armada. So there was this war with Spain that was going on during the reign of Elizabeth. And everybody kind of thinks that it ended with the Spanish Armada in 1588, that was it. The Armada got blown. The Protestant winds blew the Armada. They wound up crashing off the coast of Scotland and Ireland and losing and, hobbling back into Cadiz. And that was it. And it was over. It's not actually true. The war went on for another 15 years after the Armada, 16 years actually. So we're going to talk about what happened during those 16 years today. So like I said, when most people think about the conflict between England and Spain in the 16th century, their minds leap to the Spanish Armada and how it was dispersed in the English Channel. And this is kind of seared into our minds as the kind of climactic confrontation between the two great powers. And yet, in reality, the war was still there, simmering around until 1604. And the Armada was just one dramatic episode. So 1588 saw Spain, under the reign of the devoutly Catholic Philip II, gather together one of history's most impressive naval armadas. The massive fleet was not just an exhibition of Spain's might, but also it had a divine mission to invade England, to overthrow the Protestant Queen Elizabeth, to restore Catholicism to the English throne. The Spanish Invincible Armada, as it was called, boasted over 130 ships, intending to escort an army from the Netherlands to invade England. However, of course, the Armada met with disaster, plagued by miscalculations, strategic English naval maneuvers, and unforgiving weather. Many Spanish ships were wrecked or scattered, and England, with its nimble navy and advantage of home territory, dealt a significant blow to the Spanish, reshaping Europe's naval hierarchy. Yet, while this defeat was a critical setback for Spain, it was far from the knockout blow that ended the rivalry. The stage was set for further confrontations, retaliations, and a series of events that would keep the nations locked in enmity for years to come. So in the wake of Spain's spectacular failure, England wanted to press its advantage. A year later, in 1589, England mounted their own retaliatory strike, known as the Counter Armada or the English Armada, was under the command of Sir Francis Drake and Sir John Norreys. The expedition aimed to capitalize on Spain's vulnerability for the moment, wanted to achieve three objectives: destroy the remaining Spanish ships, incite a rebellion in Portugal against Spanish rule, and conquer the Azores, which would serve as a strategic base for the war against Spain. However, much like Spain's earlier efforts, the English Armada met with a series of unfortunate events. The Spanish fleet was recuperating faster than anticipated, offered stiff resistance. Meanwhile, attempts to rally the Portuguese rebels failed. By the time the dust settled, England had lost around 40 ships and thousands of men while achieving none of its primary objectives. This failed expedition served as a stark reminder that neither nation had a monopoly on maritime might or fortune. Then there was the period of persistent skirmishes. Beyond these grand armadas, the war was characterized by a series of smaller, yet no less significant skirmishes and raids. English privateers, semi-official pirates like Sir Francis Drake, wreaked havoc on Spanish treasure fleets returning from the New World. These acts of piracy, sanctioned by Elizabeth, strained the already taut relations between the two nations. Concurrently, the English also kept supporting the Dutch rebels in the 80 Years' War against Spanish rule. They saw it both as a duty to their fellow Protestants, a moral duty, and also a strategic play against a Catholic adversary. Spain, in turn, supported the Catholic plots and rebellions in England and Ireland, most notably another Spanish Armada in 1596 and the 1601 Siege of Kinsale. Through these actions and reactions, the two nations danced a deadly dance with each other, each blow prompting a counter, ensuring that peace remained a distant dream for nearly 2 decades. Despite the failures of the initial Armada and the setbacks from the English Counter Armada, Spain remained undeterred in its ambition to topple the Protestant Queen Elizabeth and restore Catholic supremacy. Between 1596 and 1597, Philip launched 2 more armadas against England, known as the Second and Third Spanish Armada. The Second Armada was led by the Duke of Medina Sidonia, set its sights on England in 1596. However, before it could engage the English, it faced adverse weather conditions, forcing it to return to Spain, and it was thwarted without a fight. The Third Armada of 1597, commanded by Martin de Padilla, faced a similar fate. Having already witnessed the destructive might of the North Atlantic's unpredictable weather in the previous attempts, this Armada too was scattered by storms, resulting in yet another anticlimactic end to a potentially colossal confrontation. By the turn of the century, both nations were weary from almost 2 decades of warfare, costly both in lives and treasure. Additionally, the death of Philip II in 1598 and Elizabeth's advancing age signaled a shift in the political landscape. Recognizing escalating costs and diminishing returns of continued conflict, both countries sought a way out. In 1604, James I of England and Philip III of Spain signed the Treaty of London. This landmark treaty, while not actually resolving all of the underlying tensions, officially concluded the Anglo-Spanish War. It represented a mutual acknowledgement that neither side could achieve a definitive victory. The treaty emphasized restoring peace, mutual respect for sovereign territories, and a return of prisoners. In the aftermath, while covert operations and political machinations continued, the era of large-scale naval confrontation between England and Spain had come to an end, at least for the time being. The protracted conflict between England and Spain left a mark on European history. First, England's ability to repel the Spanish armadas bolstered its reputation as a naval power. Over subsequent centuries, the English Navy and then later the British Navy would dominate the seas, paving the way for the British Empire. The war also precipitated a shift in the balance of European power. Spain's continuous military setbacks, combined with internal issues and financial woes, led to a decline in its dominance. Meanwhile, England, empowered by its successes, started its ascent as a leading European power. Culturally, the war also entrenched Protestantism in England. The victory against the Catholic superpower was seen by many as a divine endorsement of the Protestant faith, further solidifying the Church of England's position and the country's move away from Catholicism. So, my friends, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. If you made it to the end of this video and you liked it, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button, and I hope I earned your subscription to my channel, where I put out videos like this almost every day. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are deeply loved, deeply appreciated. I am so glad you are here with me today. I'm so glad I share this planet with you. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.